Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. A very popular chart analyst says that the next leg up for XRP, the next movement, wave 3 in his wave count, is going to bring XRP anywhere from $1.88 to $5.85. And it's so cute to me, all the people that are afraid out there on social media making their concerns known. Oh, the angst. Because XRP's been moving sideways, other coins, even when the market goes down, there are days where XRP takes a greater beating, or when the market's up, it seems like there's a bunch of coins that are up, yet the percentage gains for XRP are not as great. And sometimes these things are true. Yet I will point out, XRP has been around for over a decade, and XRP has always been in the top 10 cryptos by market cap. And if you just understand, historic precedent indicates that XRP's price action currently is not weird. It's actually in line with what it has done throughout history. Then maybe you could breathe a sigh of relief. Because the fact that XRP causes this amount of emotional pain, again, like I just said, historically normal, that also, in and of itself, the fact that it causes this much pain, that fact that's moving sideways or down for prolonged periods of times, maybe to a greater degree than other coins, that in and of itself is not an indication that XRP will not melt faces to the upside. It doesn't mean XRP won't hit a new all-time high. It's just that this market beats people up. And so I'm going to share with you that perspective from that analyst. But you know what I want to do first? Because I've been saying many, many times that if we're going to expect XRP to hit a new all-time high, we need Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high first. I think that's... And look, I'm not saying it's a 100% chance, but I'd be shocked if Bitcoin doesn't hit a new all-time high this cycle, but XRP does? What? To me, it just seems like effectively a prerequisite that Bitcoin must hit a new all-time high, and then XRP can run. And historically, it runs later in the cycle. Okay, but in order for Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high, we need to see the stock market continue to move to the upside. But there's a concern with it. Like the S&P 500, it's been consistently hitting new all-time highs. Isn't that a bad time to buy into the market? Well, I'm going to share with you something at the outset that should give you confidence that actually, historically speaking, as it pertains specifically to investing in the stock market, we'll take a look at the S&P 500. Actually, no. Historically, perhaps we should expect that it is going to keep chugging to the upside, which is what we want. Because again, if you want XRP to hit those highs, which I'm going to cover in this video from that analyst, I don't see a world where it happens if the stock market isn't moving up. The asset classes, they move in tandem. They just do. Equities and crypto, it moves in tandem. So if this is really the top of the stock market, I'd be surprised if Bitcoin is going to hit an all-time high, and as a result, I'd be surprised if XRP is. But I'm not so sure we need to be worrying about that. Well, hang with me. I'll explain. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. We've had a heck of a day, actually. I know XRP is only up about 1% at the time I'm recording this, which, by the way, in case anyone's curious, is 8:37 p.m. Central Time, Thursday, February 8th, 2024. But still, XRP up, the whole market's up. Bitcoin leading the way, currently $45,825, which is its 24-hour high. It just happens to be right at the time that I'm recording this. Here's a glorious 24-hour chart. And here's the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, 72 out of 100, so not surprising to see that it's higher given the current price action. No surprises there. But what about the S&P 500? Which, again, the S&P 500, it's just an index that tracks the top 500 publicly traded companies in the United States, and there are all sorts of funds that you can invest in that are designed literally just to mimic that performance, that you have broad exposure to the asset class. And so here you have the S&P 500 at a new all-time high. Here's a post. This one's from yesterday, but how many times has it hit a new all-time high this year at this point? I stopped keeping track after like 5. But here you have chart analyst Jason Pizzino. He shared this chart, S&P 500, and he said, the S&P 500 just hit 5,000 points for the first time ever and a new all-time high. This is the fastest upside move since the COVID crash low in 2020. RIP to the short the breakout traders. Ah, yes, I remember that. March 2020, bad times. Major pullback for the stock market. Bitcoin tanked. XRP tanked it down to like 10 cents. I was able to purchase XRP at the time as low as 15 cents, the cheapest I personally have ever bought XRP in my entire life. So I was pretty thrilled for that. I know people were losing their ever-loving minds, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy more here. I've just been sitting on it because, again, I don't control when the market goes. I'm just going to sit here waiting. But again, because look, you guys understand, right? You've been in crypto more than 5 minutes. You know that if a coin's hitting a new all-time high, a cryptocurrency, probably a bad time to start FOMOing into that, purchasing that. History has showed us that when coins pop like that, especially after typically parabolic advances, probably the worst time to buy, and it would be the best time to buy when there's blood in the streets price-wise, right? When the price looks like it's in the gutter. Well, what's going on with this then? Because there's this headline. This happens to be on the NASDAQ website, but it's a Motley Fool article titled, "The S&P 500 just hit an all-time high. The best way to invest right now." So you might be thinking, wait a minute. Investing in the S&P 500 right now, are you telling me that's a good idea? Well, I'm not telling you specifically anything. I'm not offering financial advice here, but there's some historic precedent to think that the answer actually is yes. And let me read just a couple key parts of this article, because again, if you want your XRP to hit a new all-time high, then you need Bitcoin too. And if Bitcoin's going to hit a new all-time high, then you better really be praying at night that the S&P 500 will be hitting a new all-time high too, because if this is as high as it goes and we reverse to the downside, that could be it for years, potentially. Even if we see some glorious popping off for some coins in the coming months, okay, that could still happen, fine. But if you really want to see the greatest fireworks and you want to feel much more confident XRP this market cycle finally will perform, this is what you're going to want. Reads as follows. Some investors might be wary of investing in a market that's making new highs. After a stellar run, are stocks due for a pullback? At the very least, they should show slower than average growth, right? It's in these instances that history can provide some guidance on the best way to invest as the market makes a new all-time high. We have experienced, and this is the crucial part here. This is the most important part I want to make. Point I want to make from this article, and then I'm going to move on to the rest of the crypto stuff. But I wanted to preface it with this, and there's good reason. We need this to be the case, and we hope that it is, even though we don't know for sure. Reads as follows: we have experienced 11 bear markets since 1950. Sometimes the declines were slow, and sometimes the market crashed. Sometimes the recovery came quickly, and other times it took years before the market would make new highs again. But stocks, as a group, have always recovered to set new all-time highs. What's most interesting is what happens after they reach that all-time high following a bear market. And folks, this is it right here. Because again, we just came out of a bear market, not just in crypto. 2022, my God, dumpster fire of a year. We know what happened in 2023. Caught a lot of people off guard. There are all sorts of reputable analysts out there said, yeah, pretty confident that 2023 is going to be an awful year. And it was a rather glorious year, all things considered. So we're off the heels of that bear market. Now we're just starting 2024. And so here's the point they're making. Reads as follows. In all but one instance, the S&P 500 closed even higher 1 year after reaching a new high. And not just a little higher. On average, stocks were 16.2% higher 1 year after reaching a new high following a bear market. Folks, please tell me you let that seep in. Out of the last 11 bear markets dating back to 1950, out of the last 11, there was only one instance where once a new all-time high was hit after a bear market, that the market wasn't higher a year later. So if we're to look at history and say, it's going to kind of rhyme with itself, because that's usually what happens, then the market 1 year from now is going to be way higher. And I'm talking about the S&P 500, which again is important, because when you're talking about stocks, that again moves in tandem with crypto. If you want crypto higher, you want blow-off tops and all that fun jazz, you better hope this happens. And so they note here again, the stock market, S&P 500, not just a little higher. They say on average, again, stocks were 16.2% higher 1 year after reaching a new high following a bear market, which again, folks, that's the position that we're coming out of. Out of the bear market, just hit a new all-time high. So it's not that it's impossible to see that this is the cap, and we could look back and be like, wow. So out of the last 11 instances, now there's 12 instances, and 2 out of the 12 were crap. Okay, so that could happen, but if you want to play the odds, maybe not as likely, which would be great. And then they say, for reference, the average return for the S&P 500 in any given year since 1950 is 9.3%, and the compound annual growth rate for the index is 7.9%, or 10.2% if you factor in dividends. In other words, the environment that pushed stocks to a new all-time peak typically persists and leads them to keep growing at an above-average pace. That makes it a prime opportunity to invest in stocks right now. And so that's what the article says. And it says that this environment, again, when we see this, typically it persists and has a better year than what the average is. So if you're looking, again, they said with dividends, what they read, 10.2%, dating back to 1950. They're saying that on average, stocks actually going to substantially outperform that 16.2% instead, 1 year later. So if we are indeed going to see that, what does that mean for Bitcoin? What does that mean for XRP? I'm just saying, if the S&P 500 is going to be doing that over the next year, you're telling me Bitcoin's not going to go ballistic and hit a new all-time high? And so again, I think this is a prerequisite. This better happen. But if this does happen, what, Bitcoin doesn't hit a new all-time high? XRP doesn't hit a new all-time high? I think we're going to have some of the most insane mania in crypto ever to exist should this continue. And but we're hanging on this from moment to moment, hoping this doesn't all fall apart and crater to the downside, which is technically possible. But is it the most probable? Well, if you look at this, which again is just one thing to consider, the answer is no. Then we have this from Dark Defender. This is an XRP price chart. And he's very optimistic that we're going to be seeing a new all-time high in the not-too-distant future. He has made his conviction well known, and I share that conviction. I don't make price predictions, and I don't pretend to know where it's going to go. And hell, I could be wrong, but I have strong conviction. Well, Dark Defender sure as hell has some strong conviction too, and here's what he had to say. We recently checked the XRP daily frame and discussed the 5-wave correction in the daily frame has ended. The weekly time frame and RSI are slightly underperforming compared to daily and have a weekly resistance to break. The regular ABC corrective wave has also been completed, as shown below. The only thing which might spoil the current balance is the expanded wave C possibility. Above 52.86 cents, this possibility will be lower. And by the way, I'll just pause to note that XRP, although it's at 51.9 cents right now, it did hit as high as just over 52 cents. And again, the market's moving to the upside, at least at the moment that I'm recording this. So we'll see what it is by the time you guys are watching the video, but hopefully even higher. And then he says, as a summary, it looks like we also completed the correction in the weekly frame. Wave 1 ended at 93.27 cents. Wave 2 ended, and so of course, I probably don't need to say this, but that was obviously July 13th, when the price of XRP damn near doubled in like several hours. XRP Victory Day. XRP got its legal clarity. So wave 1 ended, it says 93.27 cents. You can see it on the chart on the screen. And he says wave 2 ended at 43.67 cents. So you can see obviously a dramatic move to the downside, but he's like, that was the end of that particular wave. So what is next? And this is where it starts to get fun. And I will believe that this type of action is plausible so long as equities continue to move to the upside. If this is it for equities, we've seen an all-time high, and that's it. That's the cap. Well, see you in a few years, folks. Potentially, anyway. So then he says, wave 3 expected at $1.88 to $5.85 and can extend towards $18.22. And when we hit the targets, we will discuss the wave 4 possible retrace and wave 5 completion. So again, like that type of price action, not crazy in the world of crypto when you're talking about euphoria in markets and blow off tops. Even for large cap coins, like that doesn't sound crazy to me in the least. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it doesn't sound crazy to me in the least. And so as long as the market stays high, I'm going to continue to remain optimistic. And let's be real here. The best chart analysts on the planet do not know what is going to happen. They have their convictions, but nobody knows for sure. There are people who have great track records, broadly speaking, that would strongly disagree on this topic, which is of the utmost importance, as far as I'm concerned, considering as far as what's going to happen in the world of crypto. Are we going to see the new all-time highs or not? Nobody knows. You just have a bunch of people that very strongly believe things on the internet. So and look, not to take away from what they're doing, just don't take me the wrong way. Like, I appreciate the perspective, and we're going to see who's right. I'm just saying the reason that I said what I just said there is because I know that some people are terrified that we are going to be seeing that breakdown, and we're not going to be seeing a new all-time high for Bitcoin or XRP. And while I guess I acknowledge that's possible, I just don't think it makes sense to be living in that fear because we don't know for sure. Let's just wait until we know, and then we'll deal with reality, you know? And the reality right now is that it's an actual possibility that unfolds. I just don't see a reason to not sleep easy right now. And then even if that happens, I still don't see a reason to not sleep easy because what, you think the market's never going to come back? Look, I'm here to play the long game. Whatever that means, I'm here to play it. And I believe that this asset class is going to be way bigger if you fast forward another decade in the future. I don't care how long I have to wait, relatively speaking. I might be, if it's another 30, 40 years, I'm like, that'd be outrageous. But I'm just saying, whatever it takes, it takes. And I'm going to sit here and be patient AF. I will out-patient anyone else in the market. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.